Imagine owning a real helicopter that's affordable to buy, fun to fly, and easy to maintain. That's the Denali H3. The Dynali H3 Sport Ultralight helicopter makes private flying accessible. It's lightweight, low cost to operate, and simple to maintain, yet capable and versatile. And that's when it hits you. This isn't just another flying toy. It's a real helicopter you can call your own. The Dynali H3 Sport is a two-seat ultralight helicopter built by a small company in Belgium that somehow cracked the code on making helicopter flight accessible. Picture it: a compact machine with side-by-side seating, a bubble canopy, and a presence that feels more serious than it looks. It's classified as an ultralight, meaning it fits into lighter regulatory brackets in many parts of the world. Yet it's strong enough to carry 2 people and fly like something much bigger. This helicopter isn't some niche prototype hidden in a hangar. It's a market leader in its category, with nearly 200 units sold and pilots flying them on 5 continents. From Europe to Asia, Africa to the Americas, dealers and flight clubs have snapped it up. In roughly 14 countries worldwide, this ultralight isn't just known. It's actively flown, trained in, and enjoyed by pilots who want helicopter wings without the extreme price tag most people assume comes with rotorcraft flight. And trust me, when you see one hover or blast down a runway, it's hard not to imagine yourself in that pilot's seat. Here's the twist. The brains behind this machine didn't start in helicopters at all. The company now known for the H3 Sport began life decades ago, building fixed-wing ultralight aircraft, the kind of lightweight planes hobby pilots once dreamt about. Then something changed. Back in the early days, Denali was a small, passionate outfit working on low-weight aircraft. What pushed them into helicopters was a mix of ambition and the arrival of new microlight helicopter regulations in Europe that suddenly made it possible to design something more adventurous. By the time they introduced the H3 project, Denali had years of engineering, fabrication, and flying culture under their belt. Today, Denali Helicopter Company runs a dedicated production facility near Brussels, Belgium, where every part is made and assembled under one roof, from machining steel airframes to installing avionics and engines. That full control isn't just a boast, it's why they can keep prices down and quality high. Pilots don't just get a helicopter, they get something crafted by engineers who genuinely understand light aviation from the ground up. And really, that's part of why people look at the H3 and think, maybe I could actually fly this thing. Wait, you're watching right now but not subscribed to the channel. Go ahead and smash that subscribe button so we can move on with the video. You did? Okay, cool. Now back to the planes. And here's where it starts to get really interesting. The reason pilots talk about the H3 with that little spark in their eyes. This thing doesn't look like a fighter jet, and it definitely isn't some CNC-machined military prototype. But what Dynali built is something that feels smarter than most small helicopters out there. The backbone of it? A heavy-duty stainless steel airframe. Not flimsy tubing, not pressed panels, a welded industrial skeleton that's designed to take shocks and keep the people inside safe. Every structural member has extra margin, meaning Dynali didn't cut corners. They made sure the frame could handle real-world landings and rough spots without drama. But what really sets the H3 apart is the simplicity woven into every detail. There's no overly complicated gearbox here, no six-figure avionics stack you need a degree to understand. The design philosophy is keep it friendly. Parts are laid out so you can reach them, work on them, and understand them quickly. That simplicity isn't just about mechanics, it's about lowering stress for the owner. Slide into the cabin, and it's comfortable, calm, and surprisingly roomy for a machine that fits into the Ultralight rulebook. With side-by-side seats and a nearly 1.3-meter-wide cockpit, you don't feel squished, you feel present in the machine. Visibility out of the bubble canopy is fantastic, giving that open-air awareness most pilots crave. And here's a detail some pilots love. Depending on where you live, you can get the H3 delivered ready to fly. Or, if your local rules allow it, even as a kit you can assemble yourself. That choice means you're not boxed into one path. Just when it seemed straightforward, the specs started to reveal why people actually want this machine. Under the crisp lines of that simple airframe sits a powerhouse based on a very familiar name, the Rotax 912 ULS engine, modified by Dynali into what they call the Dynali Motors 135 horsepower unit. This is not a slouch. It's got an ECU-controlled fuel injection system and a balanced power curve that delivers smooth torque and reliable performance without wasting fuel. Now we talk numbers, because pilots live for numbers. With all that built and power combined, the H3 Sport has a maximum takeoff weight right around 500 kilograms, enough for 2 people, some fuel, and a bit of gear. It's certified in that light category that keeps it accessible, yet still feels substantial under power. Once the blades start chopping air, you're staring at a top speed near 165 kilometers per hour. That's about 103 miles per hour. And a service ceiling of 10,000 feet, which is plenty for most recreational flights and scenic trips. One of the coolest things about the H3's performance is its flight endurance, typically 2.5 to 3.5 hours in the air on a single tank. That means long tours, sightseeing flights, or simply exploring further without the constant, "when's my next stop?" feeling. And that's not just talk. It gets there without emptying the tank too fast. Fuel consumption sits around 22 liters per hour, roughly 5.8 gallons per hour, which in helicopter terms is very efficient. That kind of burn rate helps keep operating costs down and makes owners smile when they're planning their next flight. Dig a little deeper, and you find details that make pilots nod. A 4-blade anti-torquey rotor, modern EFIS avionics, and Motec onboard electronics that give the machine a responsive, predictable feel. So it's not just that the H3 can fly, it flies well. Stable controls, sensible cruise performance, and a machine that responds with a kind of honesty most helicopters twice its price don't come close to replicating. And here's something that actually surprised a lot of pilots. Most of us imagine helicopters as these wild, twitchy beasts, machines only pilot pros can tame after thousands of hours in the seat. But the Denali H3? It doesn't feel like that at all. Once you lift off, there's a calm confidence to the way it moves. Stability isn't just a technical phrase. It feels smooth, balanced, and strangely forgiving, almost like the helicopter itself is helping you keep it steady. That's in large part why even new pilots can get comfortable with it faster than they expect. Flight schools love the H3 for that reason. It's certified in its class in so many countries that you'll find it being used specifically for ultralight helicopter license training. In other words, the folks learning to fly can actually log hours in this machine and station instructors in dual control mode right beside them. That's a huge deal when building confidence and skill. And here's the part that truly changes minds. In the event of an engine loss, the H3's rotor system is designed to support smooth auto-rotation and a strong glide ratio, even in smaller helicopters like this, where finesse matters. Pilots tell you this is a big psychological weight off your shoulders, honestly and really. It means that if a problem comes up mid-air, the machine has the aerodynamic capability to help you manage it rather than leaving you scrambling for answers. So when people say the Denali H3 is easy to fly, they're not talking marketing fluff. They're talking about a machine that just feels right under your hands, under your feet, and in your gut. And then there's the part that most folks don't expect from an ultralight helicopter: safety. Here's the thing about helicopters. They're amazing machines, but they can be unforgiving. What turns heads with the H3 is how seriously Denali took the safety side of design, without turning it into a metal fortress that costs a fortune. The core of the stainless steel airframe is built with wide safety margins that keep its structure solid under stress without unnecessary complexity. That's passive safety. Safety that's there before you even start the engine. On top of that, this helicopter came with a thoughtful system redundancy that matters. The electrical circuits and engine controls aren't built single-threaded. There's a level of backup there that ordinary ultralights might skip because every layer of redundancy is literally another layer of protection in flight. Pilots appreciate that quiet peace of mind when they're miles above the ground. And then you've got features like the precision governor and automatic clutch, making sure rotor RPMs stay where they need to be without the pilot having to constantly babysit engine speed. That's big. Rotor speed control is foundational to helicopter handling, and having automation there reduces workload and stress. It's worth remembering, too, that compared to many ultralights, where safety can be an afterthought, the H3 meets modern light aviation standards with real structural margins built right in. In a world where people are skeptical about light aircraft safety, this machine tends to surprise even seasoned pilots with how solid and capable it feels. So when seasoned flyers talk about the H3, they don't just praise its affordability or simplicity. They talk about how confidently it handles the things that matter most when you're in the sky. But here's the part that really makes the H3 stand apart from the helicopter crowd. It wasn't designed to be expensive to own. Most helicopters feel like a wallet-sucking black hole the moment you twist that throttle. Fuel, parts, inspections, the numbers just add up before you even think about flying. The Dynali H3, though, the whole machine was built with maintenance simplicity in mind. Easy access to parts, uncomplicated systems, and inspection points that don't force pilots to become full-time mechanics just to keep it airworthy. Even the scheduled check intervals, 25, 50, 100, 300, 600, 1,200 and 2,000 flight hours, are spaced in a way that feels reasonable and predictable, not chaotic. That's intentional, and the numbers back it up. Denali estimates direct operating costs around €75 per flight hour when parts and labor are factored evenly across 2,000 hours of service life. That's rare territory for a helicopter. Add in a small allowance for unscheduled fixes and fuel consumption, and the total comes out to around €120 per hour, excluding insurance, hangar fees, and depreciation. That's a small fraction of what you'd expect, even for other light aircraft. Long life components help too. The main transmission gearboxes and rotor assemblies get their deepest inspections only around every 300 hours, while full engine overhauls are typically around 1,200 hours. With proper storage and sensible flying, that means the machine spends more time in the sky than in the shop. Regular inspection routines like those build confidence for owners and flight schools alike. It's the sort of structured maintenance that reduces surprises and keeps flying predictable. For owners, operators, and schools, that's a game changer. You're not constantly budgeting for the next unforeseen bill. You can plan fuel, training, and joy flights without flinching at the maintenance line item every single month. Just when you think you've heard every possible way people use the H3, the list surprises you. At its heart, this is a helicopter built for personal flying dreams, the kind of experience most pilots only fantasize about. Landing in a friend's backyard, touching down on a quiet beach strip, or hovering over a mountaintop sunrise. These are the kinds of flights that make people grin. That sense of freedom, a helicopter that fits your life rather than dominates it, is exactly why so many hobby pilots float toward it. That's from the very stories Dynali shares about owners in China, France, Africa, and beyond. But it's not just about joy rides. The H3 has found a solid place in flight training around the world. Flight schools choose it specifically because it's affordable to operate, easy to fly for students, and straightforward to maintain between training sessions, making it a practical daily workhorse rather than a hangar ornament. Utility roles also fit this helicopter surprisingly well. In agricultural regions, it's used for crop monitoring and light field support, giving farmers a bird's-eye view without the insane cost usually associated with rotorcraft. Ranchers use it to check livestock across sprawling properties. Wildlife and game protection teams in some countries leverage their agility to patrol rugged terrain without needing a larger, heavier helicopter. And let's not forget the creative applications: aerial photography, charter flights, and exploratory missions. With that open-view cabin and decent endurance, cinematographers and survey teams can tap into perspectives that would otherwise require much bigger machines. Some operators even use it for light aerial mapping and land surveying, all at a fraction of the price. In short, this isn't a one-trick machine. Whether someone wants a weekend thrill, an instructional tool, a work helicopter, or a flying office in the sky, the Denali H3 has carved out a place for itself in each of those stories. And here's the proof that this isn't some one-off experiment. The Denali H3 Sport has already been sold in nearly 200 units worldwide, carving its place in the global ultralight helicopter scene. It's flown across more than 14 countries on 5 continents, and a growing network of specialized distributors keeps deliveries rolling out to new owners, flight schools, and operators alike. What's also striking is the way Dynali manages its production. All parts are made and assembled in Belgium under one roof, giving them very short delivery times compared with bigger rotorcraft manufacturers. Most buyers report delivery schedules of just a few months rather than years, which is almost unheard of in helicopter manufacturing. That combination, wide global adoption and manageable wait times, is a big part of why pilots and flight schools keep turning toward this surprisingly capable ultralight helicopter. The Denali H3 Sport makes helicopter ownership a reality, not just a dream. With safety, affordability, simplicity, and global support, it's no wonder pilots, schools, and adventurers worldwide want one. Whether for fun, training, or work, the H3 is redefining accessible helicopter flight.